Now here's the fire hydrant that I saw the strange girl and the cat. This is a walk around the neighborhood street here. Right here's where the cemetery was. Right there. And we're going to do a full investigation into this soon. All right, everybody. Welcome to Mystery Trail. I'm your host, Tom. And let's start off right off with the bat. We're going to be talking about ghostly, unexplained hauntings that happened right here, right on my street. I figured that I would kind of grassroots everything. Since I'm revamping the channel, I will just start right here, for the most part, with my experiences. Alright, so I grew up in a haunted house to begin with, but it was a whole different story. It's a whole different kind of haunting. More like the demonic type thing. Now, I've not experienced anything like that here. So I moved out of my parents' house and I moved here to where I am currently in 1998. It would have been the fall of 98. And when I first started moving in, I noticed that it seemed real clear here. Kind of spiritually, like it was just like a whole different vibe thing. I don't know if any of you can relate to that or not, but it was just like kind of like a weight was lifted off when I moved here, and I could tell nice people had lived here, and I kind of knew some of the people that lived here before, and they actually were. Most everybody that was here was, you could just tell that nice people were here. Nothing bad, nothing sad, anything like that. But also, as I was moving in, I started getting a lot of really strange visitations from actual people, or what appeared to be just bizarre acting people that came, solicitors and whatnot. I won't go into that in any detail, but it was really, really weird. And like nobody comes around here now. I mean, like nobody comes knocking on my door these days. Nobody comes over. But back then, there was a lot of people, men and women, strange women that I didn't know. And some of them, I think, were, like in a couple of cases, they were Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that. Things like that. It was kind of a regular deal, but there was other people that I couldn't quite figure out. So anyway, moving on from that. Now, the first thing that I would consider that would be like paranormal here happening was that when I was sleeping at night, especially, and I'd lay my head down and I'd hear music. Just music, like like that. And it was really weird. And it was almost like you could hear a radio. It was like a radio station that was like off a little bit, like, and I would sit there and listen to it, and you could almost hear the DJ or something like a newscaster, music fading over each other. It was just weird. And it got at one point where I actually unplugged I had a clock radio, probably unplugged it. I just looked around all over the place for anything that could be making that noise and never could locate it. And I think I did a couple experiments where I like put on headphones or something. And at that point, I didn't hear it. So I knew it wasn't something inside my skull or something like there's that old episode of Gilligan's Island where where Gilligan had, he was like transmitting something like that. I knew it wasn't anything like that. Actually, I couldn't hear it if I put on headphones, so it wasn't, I'm not schizophrenic or anything like that. I'd never heard anything like that too before I moved here. So that went on, and sometimes it would happen it was usually at night when it happened, almost always, when it's really, really quiet. I would sit on the couch and be reading or something like that, and it was just like it's real quiet right now. There's nobody on the street, there's nothing going on. And you could hear it. But you could never locate the source of it. So I just got to the point where I just got used to it. I know it sounds weird, but it didn't happen all the time, just every now and again. But it would drive you about halfway crazy when it did go on. Always when it's really quiet. And of course you could hear it sometimes too if there was an air conditioner or a fan going on, like white noise. You could hear it sometimes that way also. But usually when it's really, really quiet. But a buddy of mine came over one night and we were sitting talking and it was quiet and all that. We were just talking and just, yeah, like that. And he looks over at me after he'd been there for a while and he says, "I hear music." I said, "Thank you." Thank you. I thought I was insane. Just you heard it too. So, so that went on and on for a long time, off and on until about 2009. And I had vinyl siding put on this house and it stopped. I don't know what the vinyl siding had to do with it, but it stopped instantly, never came back. The only other thing that changed during that time period was I had two large evergreen trees out to the side here by the window. And for some reason, the workmen cut them down. I didn't tell them to do it. I came back from work one day while they were putting the siding on, and they cut those two trees down for some reason. And maybe that had something to do with it. That's just really weird, though. That's just really weird. So that was into that. And the next thing that started to happen was, usually when it was kind of quiet, in the middle of the night, I woke up a couple of times with pelting. And they talk about that in poltergeist cases where somebody's throwing rocks and pebbles at your house. And you just hear it pop, pop, hitting the roof. Bing, bing, bing. Wake you up in the middle of the night. But there's nobody out there. I looked out the curtains. I kind of looked and see. You can get a pretty good view of the yard. So the pelting is going on, and I thought to myself, if this is kids doing this or somebody like that, I don't want to react to it at all. Let them know that I know what's going on. So I just stayed in the house anyway. Wasn't really scared. I just didn't want them to give a reaction. But I would look out. I would peek through the curtains out, and you have a really good view of the area around here. And it was always on the bedroom on that side. I never did see anything. That happened about 3 times, like maybe once during a month, then the next month, and then maybe another month or 2 down the road, it started happening again. Wake up in the middle of the night, somebody's throwing rocks at the house. The next day you look around for gravel or any kind of pebbles, couldn't find anything. Didn't see anything on the roof. And I started formulating the theory that somebody had like a muzzle loading paintball gun and was shooting the house with rocks with that. And they just stopped. So me not reacting to it, not turning any lights on, not going out looking for anybody, just sitting there and letting it happen and just waiting. Seemed to have worked, I guess. I don't know. I still think that it may have been somebody with a paintball gun because I saw a paintball one time on the tire of my car. No damage was done, but I either ran over one and picked it up somewhere, or somebody shot it with a paintball. It was weird. But that happened at the same time, the last time I think that it happened, which made me think that there was something going on there. But that ended. Never happened again. So more recently, some of the more recent happenings One time I was sitting on the couch and I looked out the window and I saw a little ball of light go straight up to the street lamp, and it kind of merged with the street lamp, and then the street lamp just went out, just like something sucked all the power out of it, just went like that. And I was like, man, that was whack. And it's not unusual to see, like, I can also see my house when I'm out walking at night from a distance. Just recently I saw what I thought was a car going down my street, but it turns out it was a light that was going around kind of where my van is. And then I started thinking, is somebody, you know, with a flashlight around my van or something like that? But when I got up to it, there wasn't anything there. Weird, man. And it's not unusual to see shadow people and shadowy figures around here. One time I was in the back of the house, I saw a shadowy, looked like a human, but it was very dark, walk down the street behind my vehicle that I had. I think it was a pickup truck at the time. This is a couple of years ago. But didn't come out the other side. I went over there and looked around and there wasn't anybody there. And it's a whole big street here, like a parking lot. There's no way anybody could have gotten away. Weird. Not unusual to see weird shadows and things. Sometimes, you know, car lights will throw shadows and things around and do weird stuff on certain nights if there's a lot of people around, but there wasn't anybody around really. I don't know what the explanation for that was. So the next shadow person type thing I saw was a complete perfect 3D. I was on a walk. I walk around the neighborhood. I was coming down this street here, and there's another street that goes in front of me, and I saw a person, and I swear it looked like a skeleton, but it was dark, like a skeleton wearing like a hoodie or dark. This thing was really thin person. It appeared to be female, walking up the street in front of me. And I said, who the hell is that? So I actually kind of really walked fast, just run walked up to catch up with it. And then it just poof, gone. I round the corner. I know it was close. Gone. I looked all around. I actually went inside the house and got a flashlight, started looking around. I didn't see anybody. And it was really a weird looking thing. It just didn't look like a normal person. Too thin. Way too thin. Okay, now one of the most recent, really strange things was, this has not been more than a couple of years ago. It was dark, it was dusk. Most of these things happened at night. I went out onto my porch and looked out, and I saw a white cat, almost like a Persian. I don't know there's no white cats in the neighborhood like that I know of. Big white fluffy cat standing over to the side of the property, right on the street there. And then after I saw the cat, I noticed that there was a little girl there, probably about 9 or 10 years old, wearing a purplish blue dress. And like, nobody around here wears dresses really much. It's a little dress that kind of went down to her, kind of down to her thighs, and, you know, shoulder straps and all that. And she had a bowl haircut, dark hair, a bowl haircut. I was like, what the heck? What's she doing there with the cat? You know, you walk a dog, you don't walk a cat. You know, they're both there staring at me. And I was on the porch. No, they didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything to them. I went back in the house to get a flashlight, come back out, and it's gone. And I rushed out onto the street. There's nothing around here. I didn't see anything. They didn't appear to belong to anybody in the neighborhood. I've never seen them before. Never saw them again. Just dematerialized, it seems like. So those kind of things have been going on. And unrelated to that, I did not know this. My dad, he's pretty old, and he's still alive. He's in his 80s, but he's quite the local historian. He told me one day that there is a cemetery like right over here, an African-American cemetery. Right next to me, there's like one piece of property. There's like a feed supply place, and then maybe about 10 feet and about 30. I'll show you in some footage coming up. about 30 feet, and then there's this hill there, and that's where the cemetery was. I said, ooh. Not only that, I found out that they just did something with the headstones, threw them out, and then did not move the bodies ever. So it's just a hill there, and there's people that live in the house built onto it. But I don't think anybody ever, he said they never moved the bodies. So that is, to me, explains a lot about a lot of the stuff that goes on around here. Explains a lot. And we're going to investigate that. And in an upcoming video, I'm going to I've got somebody coming over to help me who's a paranormal person. And I think they may be able to, they're dying to come over here and check it out. They asked me about it. And I said, we're going to do a full workup on that. So, so that's that for now. So stay tuned for upcoming videos. I'll see you soon.